Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Coffee. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Darth Vader appearing in the Kenobi series. That's today here on Star Wars Coffee. If you'll recall, last week on the channel we talked about Hayden Christensen appearing as Anakin in the Kenobi series, and I am very proud to say that that is continuing to get more and more support, so that is more and more likely going to happen. And here is the more exciting part about that, is now that we have Hayden in talks with Lucasfilm to reprise Anakin, we have Darth Vader appearing in the Kenobi series, and this is excellent. So last week we did talk about Hayden appearing in the Kenobi series, and now we have multiple sources, including Daniel Richman, Latino Review, talking about Darth Vader appearing in the Kenobi series. Now, Daniel Richman was the first one to talk about this. He posted on Twitter a couple of those eyes emojis looking, and he had a dual picture of Darth Vader and Obi-Wan. For those of you who are unaware, Daniel Richman is a pretty credible source. He was his biggest break that he did was the Aquaman film. He actually posted the entire plot leak and the beats of the film. So he's pretty credible on that, and all of that Aquaman stuff turned out to be correct. So he does have a pretty decent track record. And now we have Latino Review, who were really big in the Force Awakens era of Star Wars during that film, where they were constantly churning out leak after leak after leak. And now that they are talking about Hayden in talks with Lucasfilm in order to reprise his role, not only as Anakin Skywalker, but as Darth Vader. And so we now have the Kessel Run guys piggybacking off of Latino Review talking about that as well, and now we have myself talking about it. So this is actually pretty interesting stuff, considering Hayden was in talks, according to Latino Review, saying that this was supposed to be announced at Star Wars Celebration. So it seems like a really unfortunate year for Star Wars Celebration to be cancelled, as we were expecting a ton of major announcements, including the Bad Batch series, which we have now been announced, the Rebel sequel series, the Rosario Dawson and Tamara Morrison appearing in The Mandalorian, as well as Hayden Christensen appearing in Kenobi. So now all of those are going to be pushed back to an undisclosed date due to the fact that the next Star Wars Celebration was pushed to 2022. So we don't have a for sure time as when any of these announcements are going to be made concrete official by Lucasfilm. The Bad Batch series caught us all off guard. Nobody in the community was talking about that being announced, and yet it was. So let's take a look at this Hayden Christensen / Darth Vader appearing from a logical perspective. At the end of Revenge of the Sith, we have Obi-Wan not willing to kill Anakin, and really just put the lightsaber through him like he did with Count Dooku, like Anakin did with Dooku at the beginning of the film, but rather he just lets Anakin burn, who at that point is now Darth Vader. So Kenobi would not kill him, yet Palpatine found him and ended up donning him in the Darth Vader armor, which we know Hayden Christensen appeared in. So it would only make sense logically for Obi-Wan to have some type of relation with Anakin / Darth Vader in this Kenobi series, given the fact that this takes place after Revenge of the Sith and before New Hope. Because without this information, how would Obi-Wan know that Anakin survived Mustafar, yet didn't see him until A New Hope? Obviously, he knew that this was Anakin, because in A New Hope, it's very obvious that both of them are aware of the past history between the two of them that we weren't privy to at the time that A New Hope was released. But now, 40 years later, we obviously know that in some form or fashion, Obi-Wan has to find out that Anakin is Darth Vader, that they had met, that this is consistently going on. Don't expect them to actually interact, because as Darth Vader says, I haven't felt this presence since, in A New Hope. So this doesn't mean that they won't interact at all, but it means that likely they left a gap because George Lucas didn't write that line since and give an explicit date. So it could appear that they could meet together face to face before they did on the Death Star. But also take the perspective that Anakin being back indicates that we're going to see some Clone Wars flashbacks, because we know that the Obi-Wan series is going to be dealing with this traumatic events of Order 66 on Obi-Wan as a personal character. So expect some of that disorder, like PTSD type of stuff, flashback with Obi-Wan, where we could see these what if scenarios, these possible flashbacks, these what could have happened, flash forwards in a way of what would have happened had Obi-Wan, been able to guide Anakin in a way that he wouldn't have fallen, if Anakin had just destroyed Palpatine, or if Mace Windu had destroyed Palpatine, or if they had figured it out sooner, listened to Qui-Gon, something like that. So obviously it makes a lot of sense for Anakin to reappear, and these Clone Wars flashbacks, these would have to be Clone Wars flashbacks, because Order 66, end of the Clone Wars, essentially signifies the end of the Clone Wars. So expect Anakin and Obi-Wan to don those Clone Wars armor that we see in the animated series. This would be the first time that these would be seen in live action like this. So this would be another really great thing for the fans to see. A lot of fan service in this Kenobi series, which at this point is wrapping up to be probably one of the best things in terms of Star Wars canon, especially in the live action sense. We know that this is only going to be a 6-episode series, so there's going to have to be a lot packed into it. If it still holds true at this point, we haven't heard anything about the length in like a year and a half now, but it's supposed to be an hour and a half per episode. So it's supposed to be like a full-length film per episode, which if you give out those 6 episodes based on the length of a Star Wars movie, The Rise of Skywalker, I believe, was 2 hours, 42 minutes, so it'll be pretty close to like 2 movies per episode, per 2 episodes. A movie per 2 episodes, I should say. And so this really does give a lot of us the idea and the impression that this is going to be a very packed show. So if some of you are wondering how is this all going to work and jam-pack all of these characters into this 6-episode series, that's how it's going to work. It's because they're supposed to be an hour and a half in length, and each one of these could give Hayden an appearance. And Hayden was in talks to sign on as a regular recurring character. And Latino Review mentioned that this was for season 1. Obviously, this is only one season of a show because it's going to just be a mini-series. But let me know what you guys think about Hayden appearing in the Kenobi series. Let me know what you think he's going to be more prevalent as. Obviously, if he's in it, it makes sense for him to don the Darth Vader armor rather than recast somebody else, whoever did it in Rogue One. So Hayden to appear in the Kenobi series as Anakin and redonning the Clone Wars armor for the first time in live action, as well as Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan donning that Clone Wars armor in live action. Let me know what you guys think about that. Let me know how many episodes you think he's going to be in out of the 6, what type of role you think he's going to play, whether he's going to haunt Obi-Wan, as Colin Trevorrow suggested that Luke haunt Kylo Ren in his version of Episode 9 Duel of the Fates. Let me know with the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you can feel free to check out the links in the description, support me on Patreon, check out the Star Wars Coffee Store, etc. But thank you guys for watching. May God bless you, and the Force be with you always. If you enjoyed this episode, and frankly, even if you didn't, don't forget to subscribe. Do it! And if you want to help spread the word, please give this video a thumbs up and tell your friends to subscribe. Please check out the official Star Wars Coffee merchandise, and don't forget to check out all of the content playlists on this channel, including The Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian, and much more.